Hi there, this is Sue from Miller's Laboratory. Thanks for joining me for this flip through of my Etsy listings for these 3 books with the theme of a nature walk. The books are very similar. I'm just going to flip through one and I'll point out the differences in the other 2 as we go. So I'll set these 2 aside. The books are numbered 3, 5, and 10. I'll show you why in a minute. And we're going to be looking at book number 5 here. So the book size is a little over 6 inches high, 4 inches wide. The spine is just about an inch wide. And I want you to notice here that on the spine, instead of doing the regular straight pamphlet stitching, I did some cross stitching with wax linen, and that is to, of course, there's 3 signatures that's stitching in. The spine is reinforced with some old fabric that's coffee dyed, and then the original book is from 1907. Each book has a little dangle on it, and it includes a little cone from a hemlock tree, a glass leaf, a little charm here that says handcrafted, a number with the number of the book, a little acorn cap that I drilled a hole in, some little leaves made out of metal, and some beads. And then this charm is a range map for a black bear that I got from a guidebook. On the back of that, there is just a little collage with a butterfly. So each of the other books have a theme. This one has a little bit of a bear theme to it. And then book number 3 has a white-tailed deer theme, and book number 10 has a red fox theme. So the book is held closed with just an elastic strap here. This is just threaded through the back where I've put some eyelets. And so if you wanted to change this out for something else, like a tie, a ribbon, or something like that, you could easily do that. So I'm going to go ahead and start walking through the book here. It has about 136 pages, depending on how you count a page. I count an envelope front and back as 2 pages, so we're counting front and back roughly 136. Right on the inside cover here, I've glued a coffee dyed little paper sack and stamped some leaves on it. There's a card inside that is made from a card catalog card, and there you see the picture of the bear that I glued on there. On the back of this, there's just some grid paper that you can use for journaling. So this one has a bear. The other 2 books will have either a fox or a deer. The first page is just some vintage typing paper with a book plate you can write your name on. The next page is the original title page from this book, The Wit and Humor of America. This was a series of books published in 1907 with various authors contributing to each volume. I don't know how many volumes there were in total, but I had 3 of them. I had 3, 5, and 10, and so that is why I numbered the books like I did. Paper is really soft and silky. It's really nice to touch. And then we have another original page from the book. This is just a random page, but I took some of these out and laid ferns over them and then spray painted them to get this shadowy, sooty sort of pattern, and I really liked that. So you'll see a little bit more of that in the book. I think it's important to put some of the original pages back in. This is just notebook paper that I coffee dyed, and when I did that, the blue lines, the dye in there ran a little bit, and it caused these to have a little bit of a greenish tinge to them, which I really liked. So I used quite a few of these in the book too. This next page is from a guest book, like from a wedding, and it's just a little collage on this side, and then I have folded the bottom up to create a pocket. Inside here there's just a little journaling card or a tag with some lines, cluster at the top including a little button that I made from old book pages, and then on the back there's just a collage again from different book pages, and that's a printout of an old cigarette card with some flowers on it. It's not the original card, so you know. We have a dictionary page, some coffee dyed accounting paper, some mulberry paper, and then this is a really nice thick page from a book about trees. This is journaling paper with the dots that's been coffee dyed. And this is some avocado dyed resume paper, which has got a really nice feel to it. That brings us to the center of the first signature, which I have used an envelope. and it has a couple of pockets. In this front pocket is a little greeting card that I've altered. It's just a little mouse card, and I added this slide with some German text and a pressed fern. I did a little bit of stamping on the front and on the back. And then the inside of the card, it's just plain. So lots of places to do some writing there. Now the other pocket here is where this little booklet goes. And the little booklet is made out of pages from the books that were pretty much blank on one side. So I gathered those together and I just stitched them into kind of like a little matchbook style notebook for you to do some more writing in, and I did a little stamping on there. So when you flip through this book, there's text on the back of the page and the front of the page is blank. I do want to show you though, in a couple of instances you will see this black stamped tissue paper glued onto the back, and that's because after I completed these booklets I was looking through them and I realized that there were some offensive words on there. You have to remember that these books were written in 1907. Their idea of humor was a little different, culture was a little different back then, and so I wanted to keep the pages in there, but I also wanted to cover up anything that might offend somebody, so that's what I did. On the back of this envelope, I just did a little stenciling. And then we're just going to flip back through here. These are the other side of the pages that we saw as we did the beginning of the signature. The tree book, the mulberry paper here, and the accounting paper, the dictionary page, and I just used my little label stamp to highlight the word bear there. Okay. And then this is the other half of that guest book pocket, and on this one I just put a little printout of a old label and some pretty flower trim there. And then these are also not my own eco-dyed paper, but something that I printed out onto lined paper. Just thought it was really pretty, and so I put a couple of those just folded in that pocket, again, places for you to do some writing. On the back of this there is a little cluster that I made into a paper clip. It is an origami heart made from a book page, and then just with a couple of other things glued on there. And that's just attaching this picture of a barred owl in there. Where I live and where I hike, I often hear barred owls even during the day, and so I wanted to put the little owl in there because he's kind of fun. So then we have a little bit more of that notebook paper, the greenish stuff. The other half of the text, the book page that had the fern print on it. And then this is the other half of the title page, and it shows one of the authors that contributed to this volume, which was Thomas Bailey Aldrich. In book number 3, you would see a picture here of Samuel Clemens, and in book number 10, you'd see a picture of Frank L. Stanton. This is the beginning of the second signature, and what I used for this was a trail map from a state park near me, Muskegon State Park. It's a really beautiful park to go hiking, and there's lots of fun things to do there all times of year. So I thought it would be fun to put that in. And I also made that into a pocket. Inside here I've just tucked a couple of bullet list papers and then another paper from an old little pocket tree guide. This is some avocado dyed paper again. This is from an old vintage calendar or diary, and I liked it because on the top it has little check marks where you could record what the weather was like that day, which I thought was cool. On this one we have some more of that dotted journal paper, and on the back of that I just glued this handmade paper that feels a lot and looks like bark. I thought that was neat. Inside there I've tucked a little tag with a little baby bear on one side, just blank on the other side. And then this is just a page from a children's poem book with some nature poems in it. So I tucked that in there too. I'm not going to take the time to open it up, but it's cute. Then we have a glassine sack to make a pocket. And in here I have a page from a butterfly and moth guide and a journaling card that's made from a paint chip with some coffee dyed paper on the back. I'll put that back in there like that. Okay, and this is some onion skin paper that my son's girlfriend gave to me. It's got that really cool texture to it, and I added it in for good luck. I just made 2 small pages so you can flip through it twice because it's so nice to touch in here. This is from an old teacher's planning book. And then here we have a couple sheets of that green notebook paper. This is from another book about trees. And then this brings us to the center of the second signature where I've made a little envelope. And this is made from book pages again. Inside I just tucked some little goodies and I just folded them inside tracing paper so they don't get lost. You can take them out of there when you get your book. Inside here there is a little piece of the film strip from Tim Holtz. Just a little gold charm of an oak leaf. A little tag that has a leaf stamped on it. These are 2 little, just 2 little prints that I tore out of a notebook that I have with artwork by Gwen Frostick, who is a really awesome a Michigan artist. And I just thought those were cute and you could put them somewhere on one of the pages. There's a couple of nature-y labels with a squirrel and just some plants. This is a playing card with birds on one side. And then I had a couple extra of these cigarette card printouts, and so I put those in. And those are just backed with some old graph paper, so you can do with those what you like. And I'm not going to put all of that back. We'll just set that aside. All right, and then we'll be flipping back through the second half of the second signature. So just the same papers again here. Glassine on this side. I have another journaling card made from another paint chip, and then this is a book from another guidebook on birds. So it goes back in there like that. The dotted paper here, I kept it longer, and then you can just tuck it up inside so you can do a lot more writing on that. The journal page, avocado dyed paper, and then this is the back of it with another pocket. And in here I just put a little pressed leaf, and what I did with this is I just pressed it until it was dry, and then I stitched it between 2 layers of wax paper just to kind of, you can still see it but it's protected a little bit. And then there's a tag here with birch trees over on the left, some music paper in the background, and then some cute little mushrooms that I cut out. On the back of this, you can see that this was made from an old punch card when you have to punch into work. Right. Beginning of the third signature, it's some more of the accounting paper, and on here I just clipped an old photo. This is something I got off of Flickr, so it's not an original picture, it's a printout, and I backed it with some coffee dyed paper, so you could do a little writing on that if you wanted to. And I hope that you would put your own pictures in here or your own little goodies too. On the next page, it's a book page about the trees, the tree book again. I just made a little belly band and I tucked a dried leaf in there. This is from a tulip tree. And then this is a page from a book about being a mother, and it was kind of a nice parchment paper with some nature-y sort of prints on it. I folded that into a little tuck spot, and these are just a couple of index cards that were coffee dyed, and I cut out some pictures from a book of flowers and plants, and then just added some little like specimen labels on there. Then this is a little page from some scrapbook paper that I had that matched the theme. And on this side I made it into a little tuck, so you can just tuck something inside there. And this happens to be from an insect book, a carpenter ant and the June beetle. Okay. And then you can see that there's some more of that fern pattern paper. This is just a little embellished paper clip with a little arrow like from a compass and a little bell. Little paper flower on there, and I've just attached a little glassine tiny little sack, and inside of that I just put some words that I stamped and cut out. They would make really good little journal prompts, so you could glue them onto your page and then write or do whatever you want with those. This is another page from that teacher's planner. Some more of that green notebook paper, another tree guide, avocado paper, and accounting paper again. This is paper from a music notebook where you would write music. This is from a mammal guidebook, and it has the tracks, which I thought was fun. And then this is the middle of the third signature. This is also an envelope with this really pretty flap on it. And what I've done in here is I've given you a couple little cards with some watercoloring on them. I am not a watercolor artist by any means, but when we were shut down, I got hooked on watching an artist on YouTube who does watercolor and then doodles on it. Her name is Cece, and I'll put the link below here. But I liked doing that so much that I thought it might be fun to give you something to do that too. And I just want to show you real quick, give you some ideas of what you could do. I like to use little felt tip pens like a Micron or a Zig or whatever you like, but you could use a pencil too. Anything would do, different colored markers or whatever. And just show you how you can doodle different patterns on those. You could do little flowers or butterflies if you feel like it. And you could draw things that you see if you're on a nature walk. I especially liked doing the leaves here. That was really fun. You can just outline them. You can make them look real, or you can just have fun and make them look whimsical. So that's what that's for. I'll put that aside here. All right. Okay, on the back of that envelope, I got this really cool little punch to make these itty bitty little library pockets. I found it at a thrift store and I had to buy it. So I just put the 4 little pockets on there. This is just a little tag booklet with a little, a vintage picture of a man. He kind of looks like Elmer Fudd there. He kind of looks like my dad, actually. And then just some other little tags in here. A couple little tags that you can do with what you like. In the bottom pockets here, I have a couple of press leaves, and so those are just decorative, but it would be fun for you to put more of those in there, so you could do that. And you could write on the back of these too if you wanted to. All right, here we have the other half of the tracks page, the other half of the music page, which is a little bit of a flip out, accounting paper, avocado dyed paper, the other half of the tree guide page, scrapbook paper, and we come to the other half of this parchment paper here. And in this pocket I've just tucked a couple things. I made a little tiny tag from the rest of the punch card, the Saturday and Sunday, which are the best days of the week, especially for going on a nature walk, and put a little tab on it, and then there's just a little collage on the back with a bird. And then this is a little envelope that I wanted to make with these kind of illustrated letters, and I found some that had the animals that applied. So it's just got a big bee with some bears on it, and it's just a little envelope. You can put whatever you want in here. For now, all that I've just tucked in here is a couple pieces of embossed paper that I thought were pretty, so I just put those in there to have something inside the envelope, but you could put other goodies in there too. And that you just close with, by wrapping the string around like that. Okay, so we'll tuck that back in. We're almost to the end here. Tree book page again, and then the accounting page, and this one I just tucked another one of those photos. I liked this one because it's like a group of Victorian people out either sketching or writing poetry or something in the woods. And then on the very back is my label here, Miller's Laboratory, stitched onto the back page. There's a library pocket here with another tag tucked inside with some birds and just plain cardstock on the back. And then I have signed the book, and I stamped it with the date that I actually finished it, which was August 25th. So these books have been sitting around for a while waiting for me to get the pictures taken in the video and get them posted on Etsy. So thank you for joining me. I hope that you like these books, and I hope that you'll come back and see me soon. Thank you. Bye.